This is an introduction to an overview of what 1.18 has to offer us. It's a really exciting update. The biggest change is we've got a big, new, fast, super awesome, powerful rendering engine for Black Pond to work with, and so he just really made it epic. One of the biggest changes you see right off is that the brushes are, most of the brushes are way bigger than they used to be, and Sketch Club handles them beautifully. So like really great response when using large brushes, large canvases, large moves in general. Okay, the second thing I want to talk to you about is live streaming. There's a real significant change to the live stream that you can see right here, where you can see my whole screen, everything that I'm looking at, and that's why you can see my audio thing bouncing up and down. Broadcasting your art in real time, you do need to think about some things. So the two options are, when you launch a live stream, is you can do your drawing canvas only like we used to have, or you can go full screen like you see here now. One of the things you need to keep in mind if you're using the entire screen is that if you choose to load photos onto your screen for like a reference, or change your sketch to something else from your save slots, everybody's going to see exactly what you're doing. So if you have super secret images in your photo album you really don't want anybody to see, load your picture reference, if you do want that, up before you start your stream. So like there's my super secret image of a brush going from 10% hardness to 100% hardness. Also, when you start your live stream, you have the option to do your drawing canvas only or full screen like you see here. Or you also have the option whether or not you want to announce your live streaming in chat. Up next is one of my super favorite new features, which is the Canvas Quick Flip. The button is located behind your canvas, top center, and it just will flip your entire canvas, all your different layers all at one time. This is a really easy way to see if there's a problem with your work, particularly if you're doing something not so fuzzy as a hamster. If you're doing something like a person's face, it'll really help make any errors you're making jump out at you, because the new perspective makes the picture just brand new to you. Love that. Absolutely love it. And the next thing we've got is a new option with our stroke options, which is quad mirroring. And we've got mirror lines now. As you can see, that's just really fun. And you don't have to do the quad mirroring. You can choose like we had before, just one or the other. And if for some reason you don't care for those mirror lines, they can be turned off and on in your app settings. The settings for your iPad. So yes, excitement in the world of mirrors. Now I'm going to go on and talk about the new features of the layer panel, and then we'll do the tools. The new features of the layer panels is that merge down resets the layer to normal and 100% opacity. So I'll give you an example here. I've made a duplicate of my hamster, and I'm going to change the top hamster to burn, so burn blend mode, and I'm going to reduce the opacity. I'm also going to slide him a little bit over so you can see what I'm doing. It's kind of wonky. Instead of using 2 fingers to slide him over, I used 1. So let me just do that again. Okay, and it's a little hard to see because, the one that's a lower opacity burn isn't showing up as much because it's only at 50% opacity. But what I want you to pay attention to is when you see my layer panel again and I merge down the layer that's active, blue, merging down, is set to burn with a lower opacity. And once I make the move, that layer's now free and it's going to be back at all normal, 100% opacity, so you no longer have to go back and check and see how you left things. See that? It's really exciting. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is merge visible. This is a new feature as well. A layer is visible if the eye next to the layer is dark as opposed to dim. You need to select the bottom layer to see your merge visible option. It changes copy down, merge down to merge visible, merge all. And what's really also here very exciting to know is if you use the merge visible option, I've experimented with this quite a bit, it will maintain your blend effects. By maintaining your blend effects, I mean that sometimes maybe you would set a layer to dodge and you do something with it and then you merge the dodge layer onto the layer below it and it kind of goes funny on you. Using the merge visible to get that dodge layer onto the layer below it, which means you need to move the layer below it to, the bottom position. But what happens is you just 100% of the time will maintain your blend effects, that's just sweet. The next really exciting thing is that the blend mode on works perfectly now, and I'm going to use the same Apple example I've been using. And as you can see here, I've selected the layer over the layer I drew the apple on and changed that blend mode to on. So when a layer blend mode is set to on, it will only draw on the layer below it where something actually is. No, my apple's gone all moldy. Okay, what I want you to catch here, no matter how, very poorly I colored my apple, is that when I display my layer menu again here, you'll see that I've actually painted all sorts of lines outside of my apple. But now when I hit merge down, this works perfectly 100% of the time now. Under all circumstances, you won't have any stray lines showing up, and I'm very excited about that as well. So now I've got my ugly apple all together on one layer, and the layer above it is free. Not only is the layer free, it's been reset to normal 100% opacity. So that's just something you don't have to keep track of anymore. Okay, next I just want to tell you about the change to the filter panel. And the change is that it remembers the last filter you used. This is super handy if for some reason you just like to blur everything. You don't have to keep reselecting the blur filter. It'll be the one that's open when you get back to it. I'm going to guess I don't have to demonstrate that to you. I'm just going to add noise to my apple because I feel like it. So, as you saw, I've added noise to my apple. If I reselect my filters again, it will be on noise. Yay! I am really excited about that because I use the blur filter a great deal. Next on to transform. Transform is the height of Epic now. I think this is the most exciting change we've had. With this particular release, this is the one that gets me most excited. And I'm pretty excited. So as you see, there's 8 handles that surround your hamster, and you can use those liberally to make your hamster taller, wider, however you'd like to do it. Using the 2-finger move that you're used to with Transform will keep the hamster in the same proportions. So just don't grab a handle if you want exactly the same proportions but bigger or smaller. Okay, so then I'll just show you this all together. First, I'm going to just make my hamster bigger and smaller in proportion. Then I'm going to make him tall and skinny, short and wide. Then I'm going to warp him onto a third plane. This will be like really happy for making a road recede into the distance, or making wallpaper follow a wall again into the distance, but it's just fun in 1,000 ways. And I'm not sure if I said to make it go into a skewing mode or a warping mode, however you want to refer to it. Just tap and hold a handle. You'll see it on my screen just get bigger for a moment. If you tap and hold, it will skew. If you just tap and move, it 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 does what you expect. I'm sorry. So I hope you caught there what was going on. It's just fun to play with. You can make your hamster dance. This also works with the tiling feature, and I just want to explain tiling real quick. Tiling is part of transform. It's in the gearbox that you see in the lower right hand corner when you're transforming. Um, and that will also work with all this skewing, as I'll show you in just a second. And if you're not familiar with tiling, your first tile, your base tile, is your screen, the size of your canvas. So first I'll make my hamster the same size as my canvas. That's right, unlimited hamsters. Um, to make the more tiles appear, for anybody who hasn't used this tile function, it's just something you turn on in that gearbox down in the corner, and you can warp before or after you start tiling. You just pinch in, because your screen is the first tile. Pinch in and you get the more hamsters. Of course, first you have to hit transform. Keep canceling, but just to get back to my regular hamster here. But it's just really fun, and I am going to take questions at the end if anybody needs further explanation on that. Also, lots of beta testers in the room, I believe, who are there to answer questions. So just be shouting those out if you've got them. Yay, okay. Oh. Okay, I'm going to take a 2-second break to do something about my dogs. Just a sec. Okay, now we're on to tools. The first tool on our list is the brush. Yay, brushes! Okay, what's really exciting, cheapers, I just find Sketch Club exciting. But what's really new here with the brushes is that we get extremely awesome low flow perfection on your brushes, and I'll show you that here in a moment. Basically, it makes it just like an airbrush. And I just want you to look there that I actually have my opacity at 100%. What this great, smoothness at low flow means low flow. And you get, and of course we've always had smoothness at high flow. You get to that by hitting the edit on your brush panel, and that will take you to the second page with the flow. So just, do notice that at 100% opacity and my flow at 2%, I can get, something that isn't 100% dark. Just to give you an idea of what flow does for you. And those of you who have pressure sensitive styluses, you're going to get really seriously awesome results with pressure sensitivity now. And this is all owed to the new rendering engine, which is just basically very powerful and sensitive and does a great job. The Jot Touch 4 is supported now, and you have options with the Jot Touch 4 to change your tool size with the, speedy buttons on the side of it, or set them to undo, redo, whichever you prefer. And one of the things I saw with the new Jot Touch pressure sensitive stylus is it's a Bluetooth stylus, guys. It's got a fine point, and they've added a dampening tip, which they say makes it feel like you're drawing pencil on paper, and also cuts down the noise of the stylus tapping the screen. So next we're going to talk about the blur tool. The blur tool has been separated from the smudge tool, which will be a big help to a lot of folks who will find that a big help. What's new with the blur tool is that it's twice the size that it was, and it's quite blurry. Must have cut out there. The size was at 64 for the top size, and now it's 125, so it is twice as big. And you can get everything from a low blur that's really hard to see to this ridiculous blur that I've got going here. I can zoom in on my screen for you guys. Okay, and next up is the changes to the eraser. The eraser is everything that all the different editabilities that with their brush. And BP is just about to release a whole new series of brushes with, to be used as erasers with various degrees of hardness on the edges of them. And something cool I just figured out, if you look at when I drop down my eraser panel here so that you can see my brushes, I figured out I can actually write on my brushes and they don't show up if I draw or paint with them. Okay, next and very exciting is an addition to our procedural tool set, and that is the web. What? It makes webs. I can just imagine Halloween. That it's gonna be fun. And I was saying earlier, so I'll just show you real quick. I like using these different procedural tools. I'll use the fur brush and now the web brush, any of them, just to go ahead and smudge. They make random shapes to smudge it into clouds. And the last thing we're going to talk about is the smudge tool. The smudge tool is a bit of a challenge to adapt to. The new rendering engine has left us with a recalibrated smudge tool. I've really experimented with it a lot. I've been able to get it to do everything I want it to do. One of the things, that I was thinking about today when people are having trouble adapting to it, I've only been using it a few days myself, is just pretend you're using a new smudge tool. It will do what you wanted it to do before, but pretend even that, the numbers just don't match up to the way you would expect them to. And it's like going from miles to kilometers per hour. They're still get you where you're going, but the numbers are just a bit off from what you were used to. The things I'm really excited about with Smudge, though, is the preview window is very, very, very easy to see what your smudge tool is going to do. And particularly if you turn on paint, and that's another really new exciting bonus feature we've got now that we didn't have before. You can paint and smudge at the same time, like finger painting. Before I get away from it, Orient works so that your brush nib follows the direction of your brush stroke instead of remaining fixed and static in the position you see it in your preview window. With the paint mode on, you get paint with every time you tap a new stroke. You'll be laying down paint again. If you set your strength all the way to 100%, you just never run out of paint. I'm here making myself laugh. hamster man he's become one with the blue. Hamster's doing fine. I'm gonna zoom way in and show you that, for example, smudge mildew fur. Okay, the brush I selected is the same brush that Bunny used in her class, and it's Surge's Fur Brush. This brush is in the Sergio or Surge pack, and it's called, I think it's called Fur. Here I'm just showing you can, get the powerful smudge that we've had before. EP was telling me earlier that when you set spacing at about 25, you can get some nice color blending, which indeed you can. Okay, that was pretty much all I wanted to show you. And, you know, if you want a really quick recap, we've got an awesome engine now. It does giant brushes. You know, we used to have smudge was also limited to size 64, and now that goes up to 200. Live streaming, you want located at the top behind your canvas. The ever exciting, you know, quad mirroring that you can do now. That you can turn those lines off and on in your settings if you don't care to have them there. Okay, that merge down resets the layer above it to 100% normal. 100% opacity, all normal. Merge visible will maintain your blend mode. You get to merge visible by selecting your bottom layer. The blend mode on works perfect now. Your filter panel remembers the last filter you used. Transform, as I said, is just plain epic. And we just talked about the brush, or, you know, the brushes and the tools and whatnot, so I won't go over that again. So now I'm wondering if anybody's got any particular questions. Well, Bunny is thinking, is everybody coping well with the new smudge? Because it does take a little of experimenting, but I do really like it. Okay, and with skewing with tiles, I'll just review how that's done. I'm going to use this screen right. Okay, your tile is the size of your canvas. So when you transform and turn your tile on in the gearbox in the lower right hand side, you know, thank goodness for this new full screen because you can see me do it. Then you just pinch in to show all of your tiles. all of that, what I just did, also works if you want to skew at the same time. And, of course you can skew with or without the tiling. To skew, just tap and hold one of the handles. So, anything else? What's the matter, Mama? Bunny is thinking, thinking, thinking. Thank you guys so much for stopping in, and I think you're just really going to have a lot of fun with this new release. And if you have any questions, just let me know. Or, PK's always ready to answer questions. Kingmaker, there's a whole bunch of beta testers that post them in the forum and somebody will answer them. Thank you, BP, so much for Sketch Club. I love my Sketch Club. I love my BP. And if everybody could please, just resubmit your old review to the App Store, that would be great, because the counter in the App Store starts over with like one review as soon as BP puts out a new release. And yeah, something with just one review doesn't get a lot of sales. I could just play with Transform all day long. Alright, thanks so much, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.